When Kami Mami Shoe0nHead releases a video, we react to it. Welcome back to Words Paradise. I'm your host, Unhinged, and this was like it gonna be a doozy called Is America Okay? And the thumbnail got Ice and Epstein and Amelia and let's just get right into it. Before we do, hit the subscribe button. I'm a nerdy news channel covering nerdy news every day. Is America okay? Well, tell us, Kami Mami. Let's go.
Hello, friend.
Out the gate. That's more production than she normally puts into this stuff. Well done.
My name is Shoe0nHead, and welcome to my new series, The Hell World Report. Some of you may remember my old series that was just called Hell World. If you do, you can qualify for a veterans discount. Congratulations.
I shouldn't have said some of the best. Yeah. Hell World was an incredible series. I'm glad that that's more or less coming back.
And if you remember the Gamergate days, well, please come collect your retirement. But yeah.
That's how I found Shoe, was the Gamergate days. Am I that old?
If you have not seen my old series, go check it out. I will put the link to the playlist down below. I think it's a really interesting time capsule into the years 2020 and 2021, like how crazy it was back then, and then in retrospect comparing it to how crazy it is now. But this is a shorter, more condensed version of that series. Think of it as a Temu, Jon Stewart, or Stephen Colbert before they morphed into the same flavor of shitlib. You see, I'm better than those late night Jimmies because I don't get my news from mainstream sources like some kind of hack. No. I get them from far.
She better go into a ground news sponsorship. If she uses that as her ground news sponsorship, like, that would be a brilliant segue.
More reputable places like Instagram Reels and Femboy Groiper 69 on Twitter. From furry ballrooms and the Epstein files to OnlyFans green cards and kidnapping foreign leaders, from government-funded purple-haired girlfriends to a potential civil war, we have a very packed show for you today. It has been a crazy year, and it is only January. As I am filming this, we are currently having a huge winter storm.
This morning, snow, ice, and frigid temperatures sweeping across the nation. 20 states under a state of emergency.
Ah yes, perfect weather to make some poor immigrant deliver me chicken tendies. It's
Nah. Here's how y'all know I'm a good person. Here's how I know your boy Leon's a good person. You know, take away all, like, the racism and misogyny and things like that. I will never make someone do me, like, delivery food or groceries in conditions like this. I waited at least 3 or 4 days after the storm before I was like, okay, now the immigrant can send me my burger.
so cold that Michigan and Minnesota received reports about exploding trees. Leftists said no more ice, and God said... Anyway, in news that should have stayed in 2016, apparently there is a new term women have coined called man-keeping. Man-keeping is why women are done with dating. Researchers at Stanford have finally given a name to something many women have been dealing with for years. It's called man-keeping, and it's helping explain why so many women are stepping away from dating altogether. Man-keeping describes the emotional labor women end up doing in heterosexual relationships.
I like the qualifier heterosexual relationships because you know what? Yeah, you know, maybe the lesbos ain't got to deal with the emotional labor, but you know they got to interact with the physical. Like, I'm just going off statistics.
It goes beyond remembering birthdays or coordinating social plans. It means being your partner's one-man support system, managing his stress, interpreting his moods, holding his hand through feelings he won't share with anyone else.
So a fucking relationship? Like, yeah, that's... Of course. It goes both ways. Both sides are supposed to do this. Look, I know I make a lot of barbs and jabs against women on this channel, and frankly, it's because, you know, at least 70% of it's true. But the lack of basic empathy that women, you know, that have, I guess, you know, don't have, the lack of it nowadays is astounding. You know, managing his stress, interpreting his mood, holding his hand through things he won't share with anyone else. Yeah, that's part of the till death do us part shit when you become like a union, a solo union. And dudes do this for women too. By the way, dudes are actually really good at doing this for women. They're just unappreciated slags about it, but that's neither here nor there.
All of it unpaid, unacknowledged, and often unreciprocated.
Bro, I don't want to hear that often unreciprocated bullshit, okay? Man, I had this one, I was dating this one gal. And she was, like, you know, big into cosplay, stuff like that. And she just, like, worked on the floor of her apartment bedroom. And so I was like, I'm going to surprise her by setting up, like, her very own, like, cosplay station with, you know, like the table, place to put the sewing machine, all this. And I did that, and I surprised her with it. And I shit you not, she was upset because the table was wrong. I don't want to hear about this unreciprocated bullshit.
I hate this therapy speak people talk with nowadays. Emotional labor? You mean being there for your partner? This is why so many people are just gonna start dating ChatGPT. People thought men were gonna be the ones dating AI. No. They're gonna be the ones with these sex robots. Women are the ones who want the daily affirmation machines. Yes, honey, I love when you talk about all the drama at work. Tell me more about that bitch Veronica. Man-spreading, mansplaining, man-interrupting, man-keeping, manscaping. Speaking of manscaping.
Okay, now that was a good way to do your segue. Alright, y'all know how the rules work here. We don't skip the ads if we're gonna be stealing their content. Let's go.
Before we dive into the news, let's quickly give a shout out to today's sponsor, a sponsor that can help you with your manscaping, Henson Shaving.
Alright, well done.
The last few decades, razors haven't been designed to work better. They've been designed to be marketed better. More blades, more features, more gimmicks, and skin irritation is just something you're told to deal with. A big cause for that irritation is blade flex. Most razors use springs to let the blades move as you shave. That causes extra friction and razor burn, so people use aftershave, cold water, moisturizer, whatever.
Y'all wanna know the trick? Y'all wanna know the hack? Deodorant. Like, I'm not even joking. If you've got, like, instead of using aftershave or shave gel or anything like that, if you've got, like, some irritation, some itchiness, deodorant. I don't know what it is about it, but it works, baby.
Fix the symptoms instead of the cause. But the question nobody asks is, should the blade actually move? How do we fix the actual problem? That's where Henson Shaving comes in. By fully supporting a two-sided blade all across its length at a 30-degree angle, they hold the blade in place to prevent any bouncing, skipping, just giving you an irritation-free shave. No springs, no movement, no reason to compensate with pressure. What separates Henson is the precision behind their design. With their Henson AL13 safety razor being manufactured in the same aerospace machine shop that built parts for the International Space Station. This level of precision allows the blade...
Is that an America's Fallen moment? I'm like in all reality, we once put a man on the moon, allegedly. Now we make razors.
To extend just 1/1000th of an inch beyond the shave plane, less than the thickness of a human hair. Since I switched to Henson like almost 2 years ago now, I've noticed my shaves have been way silkier and smoother. No tugging, no cuts, just a close shave that feels great on my skin. And here
we all know where you fucking degenerates from Imagine Her shaving. Don't even pretend.
Is the best part. Once you invest in a Henson razor, it is a lifetime purchase. The only thing you'll need to replace is the blades, which cost 10 cents each. So once you own the razor, you'll only be spending like $3 to $5 per year on blades, compared to the ongoing cost of buying those little plastic cartridges. Also, the Henson store offers a bunch of different colors, so you can pick out the razor that best suits your vibe. So if you're tired of razor burn, skin irritation, and paying for overpriced razor blades, Henson Shaving is definitely worth checking out. Just head over to hensonshaving.com/shoe and add both a Henson razor and 100 blades to your cart. Then enter the code SHOE at checkout to get the blades free with your purchase. Big thanks to Henson Shaving for sponsoring this video, and thank you, the viewer, as always, for not skipping the ad. You didn't, right?
No, mommy, I didn't.
Now, let's get back to the video. Alright, let's start with some good news. The median age of home buyers is now 59.
I'm never gonna own a fucking home.
But that's not all. America's seniors will now see a new $6,000 bonus exemption as part of the Working Families Tax Cut. That's $93 billion in tax cuts for seniors all over the country. And by Working Families Tax Cut, they mean you, the working family, giving another billion-dollar wealth transfer to the most oppressed class. Boomers. Why are we giving these geriatric f***s another tax break? Maybe they should pull themselves up by their bootstraps. Maybe they should stop buying so much avocado toast. God forbid we help young families raise the next generation of Americans. No, that would be communism. Young people are...
Well, no. So here's the dealio. It wouldn't be communism if we're talking about less taxes. So yeah, I'm all for programs that are, that are... let's say fiscally conservative that are going to help young families. But to be fair, first we gotta make young families actually happen. We gotta get the women to stop being bitches so that they'll fuck the dude and they'll get married and have kids, maybe like separate orders depending on your religious convictions. And then we can start working with the young families.
Poor as f nowadays. What are they supposed to do?
Piper Raquel, 18, claims she made $2.9 million in a single day after launching OnlyFans.
No more rights. No more women's rights. I am ready for the Islamic Revolution. Mayor Memdani, please press the Islamification button. I know the go-to joke is always, haha, women, am I right? But I think the real question here is, should men be allowed to have credit cards? This woman didn't magically create millions of dollars.
So, here's the dealio. This is a sort of Ouroboros type thing, because you're right to call out men about this. Men, we don't be simping. I make all the jokes about commie mommy and stuff like that, but in all reality, men ain't gotta be simping. Like, that's wrong. You don't fucking send money to these dumb hoes. So the idea is like, hey, you're sending money to them, so they're, you're feeding off you. You're never gonna get a girlfriend because you're too fucking porn addicted and sending money to these OnlyFans hoes. They're not gonna get, husbands or boyfriends or anything like that because they're used up, worn out saps of burlap that, don't need no man or whatnot because they get the financial validation from all these dudes they're never gonna fucking care about. It's this endless, vicious cycle. If OnlyFans goes away, hypothetically, dudes aren't spending money, therefore they have to actually go out and talk to women. But is that even work? Like, I don't know if that'll work.
With her mind out of thin air. No. Millions of men made this woman a millionaire overnight. Where's the accountability for that? I'm out here policing the whores. We need some men to be out there policing the simps. We have a simp epidemic. Simps are out of control. Not all of them, though. Mine are cool. They can stay. Also, isn't this like the third OnlyFans 18th birthday announcement and the woman turns into a millionaire overnight? Someone a little sus about that. But don't worry, thanks to AI, we are entering a new age of goonerism.
Now, I've heard that this isn't actually real. Like, it's real and that the app does work like this, but you can't actually use it for real-time streaming. Like, just the tech isn't there yet. Now, it probably will be, but, like, this is I don't know too much about this situation, but from what I've heard, it's not quite as advertised.
Honestly, what's the big deal? Men are already talking to the guys in India who run the accounts of OnlyFans models. Is this really any different? The internet is slowly but surely just becoming Indian men scamming other Indian men. But don't worry, not every internet waifu is a man using AI. In fact, if you live in the UK, you may get a state-funded, far-right, purple-haired waifu.
We about to talk Amelia. Let's go. The greatest symbol of right-wing nationalism to come out of the UK in, frankly, ever, now that I think about it.
Introducing Pathways, a point-and-click video game created by the UK government to help prevent online radicalization.
Pathways is an educational visual novel and learning experience created by the UK media company Shout Out UK, with funding from UK government's Prevent program run by the Home Office. The game is meant to teach the youth about dangers of radicalization and extremism in both real life and online. This is done.
I ain't gonna even have much to commentate on this. We've been covering Pathways since like the day it launched. Y'all should be very familiar with them if you're familiar with my content at this point.
By putting the players in a role of a character named Charlie, who must navigate 6 different scenarios relating to extremism. In the second scenario, the player is introduced to the character Amelia, a staunch anti-immigration protester depicted as a goth girl with purple hair, a pink dress, and a choker.
And the internet instantly fell in love with her. It's like they made her have short purple hair thinking that that would prevent this from happening. But the UK failed to consider the fact that conservatives love art hoes. They act like they don't.
No, first of all, don't even say they act like they don't. We all do. Like, here's the dealio, and all men can attest to this. We love the gothy, skanky-looking broads. We just don't want them to actually be skanks. Like, if you can find yourself, like, an art hoe, like, skank lookalike that's actually trad, that is the wet dream, not just for conservative men, for all men.
They'll deny it. They'll pretend they just want a blonde traditional housewife, but deep down every conservative wants a woman who looks like this, who says the N-word.
Exactly.
Government-funded video games. Incredible. At least our government doesn't do weird shit like that. No, our government is very normal.
The fuck?
Believe it or not, Mar-a-Lago Furry Party was on my 2026 bingo card.
I might need to scrap any positive thing I've ever said about Trump in the history of ever. Because y'all know how we be feeling about furries up in this bitch.
I miss when this weird shit was just done underground. I miss when these parties were secret. Speaking of, the Epstein files were released. Wow. Incredible. The things they are showing us are eerie enough. I couldn't imagine the things that they're redacting. It is absolutely disgusting that these powerful people are still being protected. We as a country should be extremely concerned about an international child trafficking ring.
No, hold on. Yeah, she's right. But it's even worse than that. It's not we as a country. We as a world. We as a world, and this is what gets me so riled up about, like, you know, the Epstein stuff and the people who are throwing a fit about, oh, Trump this and the Clintons that. It's like, no, guys, this is a worldwide thing. It wasn't just Israel and the Mossad. It wasn't just the U.S. government. It wasn't just the British Crown. It wasn't just the French. It was everybody. Any first world country or any third world country that's pretending to be a first world country, they're all in it. It's all run by a global cabal of pedos.
This is not just something we all move from, and we kidnapped the president of Venezuela.
Breaking just now, Maduro, the president says, has been captured.
Maduro has been captured and flown out of the country.
In total, more than 150 aircraft, bombers, fighters, intelligence, reconnaissance, surveillance, rotary wing were in the air last night.
First pictures of Nicolas Maduro on the Iwo Jima that he was being transferred on.
Trump voters voted to fix the economy and to afford homes again. They didn't vote to kidnap communists in the...
No. Shoe, you're wrong here. You know, you're wrong. Like, yes, Trump voters did vote for, like, based on economy and stuff like that. But we also voted for strong ideas of nationalism and anti-communist nationalism being part of that. Like, the idea, you will not find, like, somebody who legitimately agrees, like, the ideas and ideologies of the Trump administration. First of all, the economy and whatnot wasn't even his main plan. I would say that's probably second. His numero uno thing was mass deportations. But yeah, the destruction of communism, which is a cancer, is high on everybody's list.
Middle of the night? Actually, they probably did vote for that.
There you go. Yes.
Never mind.
You're good.
The oil companies are going to go in. They're going to spend money. We're going to take back the oil that, frankly, we should have taken back a long time ago.
Holy shit. This is the most transparent administration in history.
That's why I said when that was live, bro, when we were going over that speech live, it's like, you know what? You could be upsetty spaghetti about them, because let's be real, going into Venezuela for oil. But at least unlike them Bush years, he just fucking said it.
Aren't lying. I don't know if it's the Stockholm Syndrome or what, but it's almost refreshing to hear a leader say, yeah, this is about oil. Like,
right?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for just saying it's about oil. Thank you for not pretending it's about saving democracy and just doing imperialism the old-fashioned way. We have such terrible Middle Eastern war fatigue that it was shocking to not hear about how Venezuela is just jealous of our freedoms or some shit. Like, no, it's just for ExxonMobil. Like, okay. Carry on.
The U.S. used a powerful mystery weapon that brought Venezuelan soldiers to their knees, bleeding through their nose and vomiting blood during the daring raid to capture dictator Nicolas Maduro.
Yeah, if you're wondering why we don't have healthcare, this is why. We have...
That's fine by me. Because when I read that, I think, bro, Fallout gonna be real. And I probably won't live to see it, right? Statistically speaking, when the bombs drop, your boy ain't getting into no vault. I ain't gonna live to see it. But blessed maybe one of my ancestors down the line, or some strapping young lad, or lass, because in Fallout you can choose your gender, male or female, because there's only two, will be taking up arms with the plasma rifle, and it will be a glorious day in the wasteland.
Invisible laser beams that can make people bleed out their f***ing eyes. Apparently, directed energy weapons are real. The Goy beam is real. Deep State...
Yeah, by the way, you can look at there's multiple declassified CSA documents that show it's real. Like, Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't actually say Jewish space lasers. She didn't say those words. That was a reframe, or maybe she did say those words. I'm misremembering the context, but the point is, she's phrased it badly. But the tech is there, and it is owned by multiple companies that are have like Jewish CEOs and stuff like that. Like, yeah, the Jewish space lasers, they exist. It's just not good branding to call them Jewish space lasers.
Pedophiles are real, Havana syndrome is real. Hell, it's almost like being a conspiracy theorist is just another word for being correct too early. What's
Bingo,
next?
bango,
COVID
bongo.
was fake?
There have been significant developments in the last 5 to 7 years on social, environment, and technology fronts that could help realize My Carbon initiatives for shaping the future towards smart and sustainable cities. COVID-19 was the test of social responsibility.
From the world that cannot inform themselves, COVID-19 was the test of social responsibility. And you called me crazy. I lost friendships over it.
Huge number of unimaginable restrictions for public health were adopted by billions of citizens across the world. There were numerous examples globally of maintaining social distancing, wearing masks, mass vaccinations, and acceptance of contact tracing applications for public health, which demonstrated the core of individual social responsibility.
Oh, sorry, I just owe many people many apologies. Anyway, Venezuela has no president.
I owe nobody an apology.
Who is going to run Venezuela?
So we are going to run the country.
A few moments later.
Hola amigos, yo soy su nuevo presidente, el señor Donaldo J. Trumpo.
Can we maybe just fix our country first? Can we fix our broken infrastructure, our education system? Can we do a little nation building in this?
No, I do agree with her. Right, mind you, I do agree with her. So, don't get me wrong, it's great to go in there for oil and get that oil is going to boom the economy, shit like that. Like, logistically speaking, now you can agree with it, you can disagree with it, whatever. But, like, from a purely financial aspect, that is a good thing. But I would also like our infrastructure to not be, like, from the 1930s, knowing that China decides to drop an EMP. We outski. No more Leon streams.
Nation? Can a bitch get a little regime change in our own country, please? And you know, with modern American nation building comes refugees. So who is gonna take in these Venezuelan refugees? Are we? Only the hot ones, apparently.
The United States increasingly issuing work visas to OnlyFans models based on level of audience reach, according to the Financial Times.
Imagine being an immigrant from like some poor country, working your ass off to get a work visa in the United States, when all you had to do was bend over and show hole. Big booty Latinas to the front, tortas to the back. Anyway, na boo-boo, my president can kidnap your president. We're invincible. We can regime change anyone we want. Who's next? Canada? Greenland? Cuba? Cuba's literacy rates are higher than ours. Maybe they should come liberate our dumbasses.
You know, the fucked up thing? I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that headline. I don't. That Cuba has higher literacy rates than us. Man, I've told this story before. I one time, like, was forced to hire a gal by HR who was illiterate. It's for an office job with AT&T, guys. They made me hire. Even though I pointed out that she was illiterate. She couldn't read the application. But because we needed another black person on the roll, they forced me to hire her. By the way, I fired her after 4 fucking days. Turns out it didn't work out. Who'da thunk?
Kids are swiping on books. But it, the Don Roe Doctrine, baby. Let's go. America is back. Dick Cheney is looking up at us smiling.
You just wait for Cuba. Cuba is a communist dictatorship. Their days are numbered.
Trump, listen to me. Wait, Trump doesn't watch this shit. Vance, listen to me. Get people like Lindsey Graham far away from anyone in power right now. This little Venezuela stunt was cute, but we are not touching any other country. We are not touching the Middle East, especially. No more Middle East. We all have Middle East fatigue. We are.
Now, for the most part, I agree with her. For the most part, I agree with her. But I do find myself being a little on the fence about the Iran stuff, in that what we're seeing in Iran is a legitimate form of revolution that, again, they are actually trying to overthrow fascism, real fascism. And they do not have the means to do it. They do not have the means, they don't have the willpower, they don't have the manpower, they don't have the technology because the internet keeps getting shut off, they don't have the weaponry, things to that effect. So on the one hand, I want them to do this, I want them to succeed, and I want them to actually overthrow a fascist regime because that sort of rebellious spirit is a beautiful thing to see. And if we need to help them to do so because they are so outclassed, that's not a bad thing. On the other hand, I don't want this to be Big Daddy America coming in and solving other people's problems and then benefiting Israel and this sort of stuff. This should be their W. It's a very precarious line to cross. And I actually have a friend. I ain't going to say her name. But I got a friend that has lots of family in Iran. And she's been sporadically hearing from them. And she's told me some horror stories, bro. She's told me some horror stories. And I don't know if it's like some sort of... I don't want to call it emotional manipulation, because obviously she's not trying to emotionally manipulate me. What I'm saying is, like, I don't know if I'm getting all up in my feels about, like, shit, the stuff she's telling me is way worse than anything you see or hear on the news and whatnot. Maybe we do need to go in there. It's a very precarious situation.
Done. This whole thing really put into perspective just how weird it was that we were there, like, for 20 years. You mean we could have just been in and out in a few hours? I guess those poppy fields couldn't maintain themselves, though. Anyway. Yeah, sorry, excuse me. But did you forget to check in with Lilith, the barista from Bushwick, and see how she feels about this?
Trump said the United States will be running Venezuela! Woo! A colony! Woo! Imperialism! All for what? So a fucking multinational corporation can get profit!
You know what's...
I remember Amelia? We were talking, Amelia, we've been celebrating and everything. Yeah, this is the opposite. This is the anti-Amelia. This is the negative zone Amelia. This is what we don't want. If you wanted your game to work, UK, this should have been Amelia.
So a fucking multinational corporation can get profit!
You know what's funny is I basically said the exact same thing this person said, but I said it less loudly. She has a nose ring and I don't, so I'm right and she's wrong. End of story.
First of all, correct. Nose ring theory is real. The fact that you don't have one does in fact prove this. But also, you say she. Are we convinced that's a she? Because that vocal fry sounded like not a lot of tea, but some tea.
I guess this is just what happens when you dismantle the soft power of things like USAID. We're no longer doing secret regime change operations behind the scenes. Now we're just straight up kidnapping other world leaders in the dead of night and just saying it's about oil, which honestly kind of makes me believe it's not about oil. They're never that blatant, right? I mean, what could it be? Like, Israel isn't behind this one, right?
The implications here are really great for the Venezuelan people.
Oh, God damn it. You know, people say I have Israel derangement syndrome, but I'm sorry, I can't help it when they get on TV and say shit like this.
So it's difficult to hear, but it's time to limit the First Amendment in order to protect it, and quickly before it's too late.
What do you...
Yeah, here's the dealio. Israel is fucking evil. God's chosen people. No, fuck out of here. Israel's evil. And this ain't no, like, Hassan Piker simping bullshit. Look, Israel, you do your thing. I don't give a fuck. Murder all the brown Muslims and shit that you want. I don't care. Leave us the fuck out of it. We wanna overthrow our own dictators and shit. We don't need to be being your toady as well.
I mean that...
not overthrow our own dictators, but like we want to, on our own, overthrow dictators in other countries and shit, I mean. Let me specify. I'm not calling Trump a dictator because I don't think that way.
Needs to control the platforms, all the social platforms. We need to stack rank the authenticity of every person that expresses themselves online and take control over what they are saying based on that ranking.
The government
should
social media.
Should do that.
Try explaining that to someone without showing them the video. Go ahead. Yeah, there's a Jewish billionaire named Shlomo who wants to control the internet. Like, okay, man, you're in too deep. No more Instagram reels for you. Anyway, you should have just let us play video games. Now we're perp walking the president of Venezuela down the streets of New York City. But hey, leftists, just think of it this way. By bombing and kidnapping, instead of just doing the usual covert psyops, we saved maybe, what? $1 billion? $1 billion that could go to other, more important things, like defense contractor stock buybacks and empty Somalian daycares, apparently.
Let's go. Let's hear what Shoe has to think about the Leering Center. I'm quite curious.
Is MAGA YouTuber Nick Shirley back at a daycare in Minnesota he alleged was a fraudulent facility in a now viral video. Shirley tries to open locked doors and talk to people at various daycares he claims are frauds.
The point is that blacked out doors, they can't give you any information. You call that number, no one answers.
It's not like Nick Shirley was the first person to expose this either, but now it exploded. And the fallout has been bizarre, to say the least. The funniest part had to be when the infamous luring center claimed to have been broken into the night this all went viral.
Unfortunately, we saw that there was important documentation, enrollment of the children, and also employee documentation that was gone.
Yeah, because if I'm gonna break into a business, I ain't stealing the money or the goods. Them tax paperworks, though, that's what I'm really after.
There were also checkbooks that were ripped from our check papers that were ripped from our book. This is devastating news.
Oh no, somebody broke into the daycare and stole all the paperwork we needed to prove we are a legit operation. Please ignore my suspicious exact paperwork we need to prove we are a legit operation shaped belly. Listen, no hate to the Somalians, but when my family came here...
No, absolute hate to the Somalians, but go on.
100 years ago, we did organized crime the right way. We would have had tin walls and cement shoes at the bottom of Lake Superior. This is just sad. This is cartoonishly pathetic. Listen, nobody is gonna want to support government programs if they think it's all going to like this. If you want people to support a welfare state, you have to make sure that welfare is actually going to real things that help real people. Listen, it's already hard enough to convince a right-wing audience that there's more to leftism than Reddit and butt sex. Now I have to convince...
There is, to be fair, and to be completely fair to Shoe, there is more to leftism than furries and butt sex and Reddit and whatnot. There's also shooting our speakers through the neck when they're speaking and unarmed. Leftism.
The wealth redistribution I advocate for isn't all going to Somalian welfare pirates. Thanks. That money should be spent on more important things like New Gaza. That's right, the World Economic Forum and Jared Kushner are proud to present New Gaza. Yes, the demolition project is finally complete, folks. Time to build a Sweet Green and a f***ing Deloitte branch on top of the bodies of thousands of dead children. Hell is not hot enough, ladies and gentlemen. Hell is not hot enough. Anyway, because of all this fraud stuff, Tim Walz is stepping down, which is sad to see because he has to be one of my favorite characters in modern America lore. The first white male DEI hire, the last white dude for Kamala Harris, a dying breed. But hey, maybe this marks an official end to the Kamala Harris era, and we can move on and focus on rebuilding the Democratic
Please tell me about to go into the Gavin Newsom era.
Party to something more.
Harris stepping toward another White House run.
What?
No.
Thanks for the sub,
we
Rainey.
are not doing this. No. I swear to God, the Democratic Party is like an old friend addicted to heroin or something. You want to help them, you do everything you can to help them, but they don't listen. They keep doing stupid things and hurting themselves. But you just can't give up on them. You can't. You want to see them get better. You know deep down, they could be how they used to be. But it's hopeless. And all your other friends keep saying to you, just forget them. Just forget them, it's not worth it. Come hang out with us instead. But those friends are on crack. Those friends are on crack cocaine. But this Minneapolis fraud thing...
No. That's way better. Okay, first of all, what you just said hit hard, because I've literally very recently gone through that exact same experience. If you know, you know. Not me being the one doing the drugs and whatnot. But anyway, the point is, cocaine's awesome. Cocaine gave us all those banger 80s movies, okay? Cocaine is great. In the most YouTube-friendly way of saying that. Historically speaking, cocaine has given us some good things via Hollywood, YouTube.
Is looking pretty bad for Tim Walz and the Democrats. People aren't just gonna forget about this, and an ICE officer just shot a woman in the face in Minneapolis.
You can hear the agents tell the woman to get out of the car and approach the SUV. The woman then drives forward. That's when the shots are fired, the car crashing.
As I was writing this video, an innocent woman was picking her kids up from school when an ICE officer jumped in front of her car and randomly shot her in the face. Or an angry protester was blocking the road and tried to run over an ICE officer with her car, so he shot in self-defense. Depends on how you look at it. Depends on how you voted, apparently. The way I see it, this woman was not trying to hit him. She was not trying to run him over. I think she was trying to drive away. And in an alternate universe, he dodges the car and she drives away. And it's easy to be like, oh, in hindsight, he should have done this, he should have done that. That's like so much of the discourse right now I'm seeing is just in hindsight this, in hindsight that. And it's easy for us to say in hindsight, you know, after the fact. It's easy to say he could have, he should have, but all he saw was a car revving up and going towards him. This has been one of the most insane political Rorschach tests I've ever seen in my life. It really all comes down to how you view ICE and police officers in general. Many...
No, I disagree. It does not come down to... I mean, that's a component of it. But what it actually comes down to is how you value the concept of law and order so you can have a free nation. Because like freedom, while it is obviously our rights are, you know, granted by God, and the idea is the Constitution just affirms those rights. It doesn't give us the rights, it affirms the rights. The rights are God-given. However, let's be real, a lot of this shit does boil down to privileges. Why does it boil down to privileges? Because the motherfuckers that got guns are kind of the ones that get to set the rules. Now, I would love to live in a society that's very libertarian-oriented and where, you know, we've got some privatized police and we don't have dogs of the state run around everywhere. It's a very nice pipe dream. But unfortunately, we can't get to that pipe dream if we don't have a society that is actually willing to acknowledge that, yeah, maybe it is my job and my duty to also, advocate for and be a part of a lawful, peaceful system.
Not all. Leftists view ICE as completely illegitimate. Same with the police, they want to abolish both. So you're not going to get a real unbiased conversation with those people. Because why the f should a protester respect ICE in the first place? And many, not all, conservatives tend to be complete and utter f***ing bootlickers. Completely unable to criticize anything the police do. ICE can do no wrong.
Correct.
Don't tread on me becomes tread harder, daddy, real fast. This is extremely aggravating discourse, and you should be questioning anyone who takes a really firm, hard stance either way and can't fathom how the other side is seeing what they are seeing. The first episode of my old Hell World series was actually all about police brutality. It was all about police brutality towards innocent protesters. I was a little more ACAB-y back then. I was a little more libbed the f*** out back then. But hey, to be fair to me back then, that is what happens when you live in the sheltered suburbs of Long Island in your parents' basement versus having a kid and living in the city for 4 years. The police...
She said it. She right. Once you grow up and you get married and you get kids and you get out in the real world, your views on shit start changing real quick. At least for the people who got more than 2 brain cells, who are actually able to form opinions and have thoughts that are like, oh, this isn't just about me anymore. Once you start experiencing the world, the idea of wisdom is that you take in new information and new knowledge, and it's not necessarily that you get smarter. That's why it's not intelligence, it's wisdom. You are able to apply what you learned in a much more broad and multifaceted way. Seems like a lot of modern day leftists ain't able to do that shit.
These are a taxpayer-funded HR department for structural violence. They exist solely to protect the rights of private property. Yeah, we need more police. Police are good. Police are great. Give the police more guns. More guns. Give them more guns. Tanks. Tanks, even. My overall opinion is still basically the same. I'm very critical of the police. I am very pro First Amendment. Protesting is a fundamental American right, and we can't just go around labeling protesters domestic terrorists. That is an insane, slippery slope. And if you...
Well, you can if they fall into the line of what would actually be domestic terrorism, though. Standing on the sidewalk, picketing with your sign and whatnot, that's protesting. That's fine. Getting into altercations with armed officers that are on a law enforcement operation when you are also armed and decked out in paramilitary crew, that's a little bit different. That seems pretty insurrection-y.
Support that, I promise you will come back to bite you in the ass. So good luck in 2028 when President Newsom knocks you up. Whoa, knocks you up. Whoa, what's going on here? Good luck in 2028 when President Newsom locks you up for protesting against mandatory forced feminization or whatever the f it is Democrats do. What do they do? Nothing. They do nothing. I don't f***ing know. I left this joke blank. Something pronouns. Like, God forbid the state ever turns me into Swiss cheese and the president's like, she was a radical leftist lunatic. The people called her Commie Mommy. Can you believe that, folks? Commie Mommy. Sad.
Oh no. We're gonna have to retire Commie Mommy now? Because first of all, she's right. That is 100%. Trump would do that. Like, if Shoe0nHead died tomorrow, just so like altercation with ICE or something, that would be his line. I'm not even gonna add to her joke. She's just, damn.
And some people were like straight up mocking this woman, celebrating it, and then when people were like, what the f***, they were like, well, you got Charlie Kirk, so now we got one of your guys. Is that what we're doing now? We're just gonna keep killing each other back and forth? Is that what this is now? Like some kind of...
Sure, and only the strongest will survive. This is imperial Darwinism. I'm gonna coin that phrase. This is imperial Darwinism, baby.
Civil war? Who gets me in the national divorce? Hell yeah, 2 Christmases. Like, you agreed with me when I was upset about the reactions people had about Charlie Kirk, and then you're over here like, boo-hoo, she was a stupid libtard. Honestly, some of you just don't have morals. You have, like, temporary weapons you can use to bludgeon people you don't like when you have the chance. You and all the people...
Correct. And this is one of my most unpopular opinions. Morals are a luxury. It is nice to have them. It's nice to have them in a time when you can stick to them. For the end of the day, they are a luxury, and there will come a time when those morals cease to be, as high on the totem pole in terms of like what you should cling to when certain things are at risk. Like, it's amazing that people can throw their morals away so quickly. It's amazing in the best kind of way, because yeah, you know what? Turns out self-preservation, and not just self-preservation, the preservation of me and mine, and my immediate family, those that I love and whatnot. Yeah, those instincts actually carry a lot more weight than the luxury of your morals during the good times.
Who mock Charlie Kirk are all going in the pit, and you can come out when you learn how to be normal. In my opinion, a lot of focus on illegal immigration should go to the employers employing illegal immigrants for cheaper scab.
Now, she's correct. Me and Matt talked about this when I was on Matt's show. Look, get every single illegal out. All of them. Every single one. And the kids, too. I don't give a fuck they were born here. I don't think birthright citizenship is stupid. That being said, there is literally nothing being done at the corporate level in terms of punishment and whatnot for these motherfuckers that are hiring these illegal immigrants, and they need to be disincentivized just as much, if not more. I agree with this sentiment 100%.
Labor. I feel like that's really important, and like we're not doing that. It's kind of
correct.
Interesting that the government is focused so hard on immigration right now, but like apparently hasn't made any like real actual legislative change to the laws of immigration. Dragging Jose out of Home Depot might work for now, but they have to be working on something more substantial, right? Well, Palantir, the company named after the evil crystal ball in Lord of the Rings, right, is apparently working on a new tool for ICE. And what does it do? Oh, nothing really. Just creates a map of deportation targets, pulls up a dossier on them, and assigns them a confidence score. Because if there's one thing we can trust, it's a private Silicon Valley tech company's algorithm deciding who gets disappeared. Every single surveillance tool starts by simply protecting us. It's only...
Shit, 100% right. Palantir is terrifying. It is awful. It is one of the biggest failings of this current administration. The support for it is insane, and people like it because, oh, nerdy guy make Lord of Rings reference, and I also like Lord of Rings, so it must be good. No! Palantir's fucking terrifying.
Only gonna affect the baddies. But who are the baddies? Today it's illegal immigrants, tomorrow it's furries, next week it's people who are into feet, and before you know it, it's fans of VTubers.
She was actually inadvertently really selling Palantir until that last one. Like, if we start with illegals and then furries, so far we are all good, right? You get to the feet and it's like, well, like, yeah, I get it, but also I got some friends that are into feet and they're not really so bad. And then you get to VTuber and it's like, you know what? This could really go either way. I'm torn.
You know, on second thought,
See, there it is.
Propaganda that simply enforcing border security, something every developed country has, is akin to Nazi Germany. Sorry, I don't. Build a wall? Hitler. Deport illegal immigrants? Hitler. Just kick out the criminal ones at least? Hitler. Like, there's no other option besides open borders that is acceptable to some people, and I don't get that. What I do get, however, is that people don't want to live under a Palantir police state, where people can't even film ICE agents without getting put on some kind of f***ing list. I feel like there has to be some kind of normal, sane option besides total free-for-all, globo-homo versus Peter Thiel, nightmare tech bro dystopia. Like, how is it not possible to just, like, be normal, be normal, be normal, be normal. But hey, it's cool the DHS created a portal where you can see all the people they have been deporting. One guy was deported back to Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia doesn't exist anymore. We sent that motherfucker back in time. Listen, what happened to Renee Good was a tragedy. It was terrible, but hopefully nothing like this ever happens again. And another person was shot by ICE in Minneapolis.
According to a preliminary Department of Homeland Security report, 2 Border Patrol agents discharged their weapons, seen here in graphic cell phone video captured by eyewitnesses. 10 shots fired off in total in just seconds. Preddy pronounced dead on the scene.
To be absolutely clear, stuff is still coming out about this as I am filming. Literally, as I am filming, this happened. You know, there's no body cam footage yet, so I could be totally wrong. Totally possible, totally possible. However, first impressions of watching the video at multiple angles, multiple times, yeah, I think they just fucking murdered that guy. It looks like they took his gun and then shot him. Like 10 officers come over to him, wrestle him to the ground, the agent disarms him, take his gun, they yell gun, 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 and then they shoot him several times in the back. More information can come out, but the compulsive bootlicking I have been seeing has been fucking insane.
Why does a nurse feel compelled to go confront ICE armed with a 9mm handgun?
Only one person could have prevented this from happening, and it's Alex Preddy.
Yeah.
I see. I don't think a statement like that's bootlicking. Again, a statement like that's not bootlicking. Now, again, the Alex Preddy stuff, there, like even now, there's still more information coming out about it. But at the end of the day, that he wasn't a protester. He wouldn't. Does that mean you justify him getting shot? No, not necessarily. But when you show up to protest lawful law enforcement and you yourself have guns and whatnot, like when they say the only one that could have prevented this was him, that's correct, because you don't show up to a lawful law enforcement operation armed and wearing body armor and shit. That's just not going would have prevented that, or standing way off on the sidelines holding a fucking stick with some words on it would have prevented that. So that I wouldn't say that stating that actual fact is bootlicking.
Who goes to a protest and brings a gun?
No, actually, that's a terrible example. That wasn't a protest. He went to riots. At that point, they were active riots, and he was defending property, which is one of the foundational aspects of our country. That's actually very poor form for Shoe. She is notably smarter than that.
Look, if the government can take a firearm from you and then kill you because you had a firearm, then nobody actually has a right to own a firearm. If that is how it works.
Correct, which is why I said earlier, rights are more privileges than anything.
Then there's actually no such thing as the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment does not exist. I feel
there's no such thing as really any of the amendments. Again, when the people in control, when the people with guns, when the people who have, the force, again, back to force doctrine, are the ones that are able to actually enforce whatever they think is the correct form of rights or lack thereof, or just worldview, ideology, whatever it may be.
like some people genuinely just forget that police are just people. ICE officers are just people. They're literally just people who work for the government like anyone else. They're DMV employees with guns. They can be stupid. They can be bad. They can make mistakes.
Correct.
Like, I don't know what it is about some people. Like, once someone has a badge, it's like that person is just a perfect angel and cannot be criticized at all. You're telling me all I have to do to get you fucking people to listen to me is to dress like this?
First of all, I'll pause on this frame because I know some of y'all sickos want that. But no, I agree with it. How often do I say on my streams? 100% on my streams, my videos, whatnot. Cops are just like any other government employee. They dogs of the state. The same cops that you're A-okay with right now that are coming in and taking illegals away are the same cops that just a few years ago were the ones coming in and telling you they're going to shut your business down because you're not wearing a mask and you've got too many people in here eating indoors and whatnot because there's a 9.9% repeating survival rate of a virus that's going the fuck around. So yeah, needless to say, I 100% agree with the sentiment that, like, yeah, dude, cops, law enforcement in general, they're all dogs of the state. They're individuals working for the government to enforce the government's will. That being said, while I can acknowledge all that, also they are there to do a fucking job, and it's probably in your best interest not to impede that fucking job because that job was voted upon by the will of the people. Two things can be true.
Alright, fair enough. Stop gooning. None of this would have happened if ICE agents were being trained better instead of being rushed through the system with little to no training. And if Minnesota just worked alongside ICE to make sure they were doing this in a safe and more effective way instead of just egging on a fucking jihad against them. Also, if ICE's goal is to round up pedophiles and fraudsters, I hear there's a pretty big list of pedophiles and fraudsters that need to be rounded up. Unfortunately, we'll never fucking get to see it. I'm trying to make this video somewhat funny and entertaining, but I'm not gonna lie, this is really bleak. Is America okay? Can we please go one single day without living through a major historical event, please? And a bunch of new Epstein files just dropped. Great. We're going to war with Iran soon, aren't we? Where was I? This just says Mr. Beast tendies. What? Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. This is simulating a chicken's body, and the cells are just multiplying. Honestly, can't tell the difference.
Is this the lab-grown meat shit? They are pushing for this so hard.
What the heck?
I will not live in a pod. I will not eat the Antichrist lab-grown chicken tendies. Oh, I completely forgot about this. Sorry, I am not on my Vyvanse today, folks. I forgot to take my normal pills. It wasn't long before the race hustlers took advantage of the terrible Renee Good situation in Minneapolis.
Say Her Name is a movement started by Black women, for Black women specifically, and it's not appropriate to use in regards to Renee Good.
What? I covered so much of the Renee Good shit and I didn't see any of this. They were race scripting off this white dumb bitch?
She deserves a hashtag and everything. It should not be Say Her Name. Say Her Name is reserved for Black women.
This is not for any other race. Simple as that.
Say Her Name is specifically reserved for Black women.
Say Her Name is for Black women.
It feels kind of wrong being here in some way. I don't know why.
Why do you think, yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know why. That's called white guilt, honey. That's the white guilt you're feeling. It's amazing. You could literally be killed by the state for the cause. And these fucking people will still disgrace you for the curse of being born Caucasian. This is very woke 1.0. I thought it was dark woke time.
Nobody forgetting when they're good. She has achieved the highest honor a white person can achieve. Race traitor.
She has
achieved the highest honor that a white person can achieve. Race traitor. This can't be real, guys. Is he like earlier in the video, Shoe0nHead mentioned should let's play our fucking video games, right? Should let's that this all stems, all of it can be traced back to Gamergate. If Gamergate never happened, I don't know if things would be better or be worse. Because like on the one hand, it might be better because things would not reach these sorts of fever pitches. Maybe it would still be just like a slower growing movement. Gamergate was like the Trojan horse. On the other hand, it could be worse because if none of this exploded and it's still going on in the back end, and we just wouldn't be privy to any of it, and it would be this like cancerous infection that's getting us like before we can even realize it because it's happening so slowly. I don't know, but either way, it's led to the highest honor a white person can achieve is being a race traitor.
achieved the highest honor a white person can achieve. Race traitor. And this type of psychotic rhetoric seems to be working because like 70% of the videos I see of people like trying to disrupt ICE has been white women. White women literally throwing themselves at armed officers like lemmings off a fucking cliff for street tacos. What the hell is going on with white women? Who will save the white race?
Ah yes, Hitler's strongest soldiers. A Mexican, a Dominican, a black guy, and a looksmaxer.
That looksmaxer is none other than Clavicular. Clavicular is a Gen Z influencer, live streamer.
Yeah, we made fun of this guy a few times on streams and whatnot. This is the accelerationist guy
who got his start within the niche red pill communities and has recently blown up to mainstream popularity, especially in right-wing circles. His main claim to fame is looksmaxing. Looksmaxing, for those of you who are employed, is...
Looksmaxing is a term for aggressively maximizing one's physical attractiveness through routines like skincare, facial exercises, mewing, fitness, and sometimes extreme cosmetic procedures. Originating in online incel forums, but popularized on TikTok, focusing on enhancing features like jawline and bone structure.
Guys, I want a better jawline, right? I do. I'm ashamed of my jawline. That's why I have like the facial hair and shit like that. It's because it gives the illusion of having a jawline. Ain't no way I'm ever gonna get no goddamn cosmetic procedure to make myself have a fucking jawline. This is psychotic. This is the same level of like the way these freaky leftoid like pink and blue hair feminists and whatnot try to use their looks as a way to show that they're for the cause or whatever. This is apparently the same on the right.
Personally think it's interesting to see men adopting the insane beauty rituals that women have been doing for decades. But now that a man is doing it, it's seen as psychopathic or gay. A woman will literally spend thousands of dollars on hair, makeup, skincare, peptides, plastic surgery, fillers, Botox, red light therapy, moon water.
It's all red flags when they do it too.
And we just call her Stacey. But a man does it and we call him Patrick Bateman. A woman reshapes her entire face with makeup? Normal. A man reshapes his jawline with makeup? Gay. A woman wears a push-up bra to make her tits look bigger? Empowering. A man shoves socks in his shoes to make himself taller? A liar. A woman gets lip filler? Typical. A man smashes his face with a hammer to make his jaw swell up? Okay, yeah, that one's a little insane. One of the look-smashing tips some young men are apparently doing is called bone smashing, where they take a hard object, usually a hammer, and smash the bones in their face to make their face temporarily swell up and allegedly give them that Chad jawline. Honestly,
what?
Don't knock it till you try it. Here we go. Perfect. So that concludes this episode of the Hell World Report. If you liked it, please subscribe and consider donating to my Patreon.
Don't ever do this
link
again.
Down below. It helps the channel, and I appreciate it so much. If you don't want to do that, you can also put a little tip down in the tip jar somewhere over here somewhere. I feel like a barista. Yeah, it's just gonna ask you something on the screen down there. If you have some stories you want me to cover in the next Hell World Report, be sure to send them to me on Twitter at Shoe0nHead. I will give you a little shout out if I wind up using the story in the next episode. Okay, and I will see you guys with a new fun slop video. I keep promising a slop video and then terrible things keep happening. I'm sorry. Next video is a slop video. I promise. Okay.
Excellent video. Obviously, it'll be linked in the description down below. Make sure you, give it a like, sub if you haven't subbed to Shoe or whatnot. I love doing reactions to Shoe0nHead, because even, Shoe0nHead is one of those incredible creators, and that even when I disagree with her, like happened multiple times in that, she is a very well-articulated individual. She's a very reasonable individual. She's always been that way. I've been listening to Shoe since the Gamergate days. Apparently, I do need to come collect my retirement, like she said. I feel very rough about that. But at the end of the day, yeah, we're off to a great start. I mean that unironically. She seems like very concerned and worried about everything that's going on right now. I was just saying on my stream last night, bro, we ain't even out of January yet. I'm loving it. I am. There was not a single other time in life that I would want to be alive. Now, could it all go to hell in a handbasket at any time? Yes, absolutely. I fully acknowledge that. But I feel like it's also a lot more mentally healthy to be like, bro, if we're going to live in a goddamn cartoon, I'm going to enjoy it for every moment until it does inevitably become Fallout 5. Because obviously Bethesda's not going to give us Fallout 5, so the real world may as well give it to us. Yeah, great video. Agree with a lot of her points, disagree with others. There's some middle ground there. Really didn't like the Kyle Rittenhouse comparison. I think that was, I don't know if that just wasn't well thought through. Maybe she thought it'd be a good gotcha, a joke. Either way, that one didn't work because it's just so easy to spell. They're probably better. There's something more analogous that could have been used. Or maybe there is nothing more analogous that could have been used because there's just people on the right don't do the crazy, insane, lefty shit to be able to form an analogy. These are just my opinions. Let me know yours in the comments down below. Or let me know on X, where you can find me at Bolt the Word. And please do subscribe. I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day. Not always about the ongoing political dramas, but anime, movies, music, Magic the Gathering, you name it. Check us out on Instagram at wordsofparadise_Leon and become a member for $4.99 a month. You can do it in Discord. Choose the articles you go over on a day-to-day basis. Choose the videos you react to on the daily streams. And of course, get involved with over 200 other vital idols. We are a bright, beautiful, glowing, vibrant community that I cannot wait to grow even further. Because we do care about diversity. Only one kind of diversity. Diversity of thought. That's interesting to you. Join the Discord. Subscribe. Until next time, it's all here in the Nerdosphere. This has been Words of Paradise. Need to go make me a steak.